Hi everybody, I'm Aaron and I'm the head bartender here at Brassaii Restaurant and Lounge, and welcome to How To in 2. Today we're going to be talking about bourbon and tasting bourbon, and the difference between bourbon whiskey and Scotch whiskey. Scotch is primarily wheat-based. Bourbon is corn-based. The process is pretty much the same, but the FDA actually determines what qualifies bourbon as a bourbon. For example, it must be a minimum of 51% corn grain in the grain blend. It must be aged for a minimum number of years in a virginal oak barrel. It means they can only use the barrel once and then they have to get rid of it. It also has to be distilled within a certain alcohol percentage in order for it to be called bourbon. Otherwise, you have what's known as a sour mash whiskey or a Kentucky whiskey, sometimes also a Tennessee whiskey. Some whiskeys are not made in Kentucky. So the difference between them, like I said, is just the grain blend and the barrels. In fact, most scotches are finished off in bourbon barrels. The difference in flavor profile is greatly noticeable though. With scotches, you get a lot more delicate flavors, vanilla, oak, and some gentle spices. Bourbon, because the barrel has never been used before, is a lot more intense in its flavor. You get spicier notes like clove, nutmeg. You also get some sweeter notes, vanilla, maple, and brown sugar. Let's give it a try. We're gonna use Knob Creek, which is a 9-year-old bourbon for this tasting. And just like a Scotch tasting or a wine tasting, you want to place the glass between your nose and your upper lip and breathe in with your mouth open. And the notes you'll get from this are very different from a Scotch. You get a lot of butterscotch, a lot of vanilla, and a little bit of spice. So now take a sip, let it roll around your palate, and exhale through your mouth, through your nose with your mouth closed. The tannic structure and harshness is a lot more prevalent than in a Scotch, but the flavors are also just as rich. A lot of deep butterscotch, vanilla, and a little bit of cinnamon are very, very prevalent in this bourbon. So rather than reaching for a Scotch, try something American made. Grab a bourbon and give it a try. Cheers.